Hey everybody, welcome back to Mary Bird's Backyard Garden. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mary.
Hi Mary.
Hi, Jeff.
How are you, Mary?
I'm doing just great. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. We've had a nice week in the garden.
Glorious. Yes, it has been wonderful.
You've been a busy bee, as we say.
Yes, we have.
You've been a busy
Beautiful weather. We've had gorgeous weather.
We have.
I mean, kind of cloudy. Today, a little bit of rain. I'm loving it.
And a little rain. And the first mow of the season occurred.
And it's beautiful.
Can you believe it? It starts now. Now you start. Now you have to keep going.
Now you have to keep going.
Yeah,
and I was interested because you said you didn't mow it very short.
I didn't. It was. It actually was fairly long, and it was very green.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't like butch it down there. I raised it up and.
Interesting. Why did you? What made you think to do that?
Well,
Why
I think I've read like if it's like real tall like that, you don't want to just chop it all the way. You want to kind of, Plus, I mean, generally, I don't really want to chop it all the way.
Right. Right.
But it does leave some of it, and I think it's better for it to kind of get some air under there and.
Oh,
so,
that's very interesting. Yeah.
So and it looks good. So yesterday after I mowed it, it kind of took the top off. And then it looked a little brown, but then this morning we woke up and it was all green.
So green.
So I think I did the right
beautiful.
thing.
I think you did the right thing.
It was great. Yeah.
It looks lovely.
It was. I knew it was. It
looks almost like a carpet.
Carpet grass.
Nope.
Okay.
Silly little guy.
That kind of leads us into, Mary. What's new in the garden this week?
Well, you were just saying how nice and green everything looked. And I am doing an experiment, a little experiment. The backyard has basically no topsoil. If you took a stick or something like that and poked it in the ground, it might go down maybe an inch. It just doesn't have anything back there. So the front yard, I'm not doing anything to, but the backyard, I did apply a soil conditioner, which is basically it's minerals and it's not like a fertilizer. It doesn't have like nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium type things like that. But it has minerals basically in there that the biology can chomp away on. And then we sprayed it. I went ahead and sprayed it with a biological product that is supposed to help your roots grow nice and deep and create some soil out of your existing subsoil.
Oh, wow.
Which, I think it looks green.
It does.
We just barely put it on.
I know, but we both were out there and kind of admiring how much it's just in the last couple of days it seems to have changed.
Days. And there were bare patches that we talked about that we were surprised it had sort of kind of grown over. No,
I was going to say, definitely. I mean, we were out there and I kind of noticed there one that was a fairly bigger patch. Yeah. And when I looked at it again, it's looking good.
It does look smaller, doesn't it? The birds like to go in that one area and take dust during their day, but it is kind of growing over now, so I'm excited. The front yard is our control, and the backyard's our experiment.
Okay.
And so let's see what happens.
So far, so good. I think it's looking
good.
Everything's growing really well right now.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that is true. Everything just looks like it is full of energy. It's really growing. We got blossoms on one of our little apple trees.
We did. I know you were excited about that.
I'm just excited about it. Yes.
That was funny. Our son came over for something, Mary, right out in the backyard with him.
I drug him out there. Don't you want to go see the garden?
And he liked it. He was a chef, so he likes all the veggies you were growing. And I think even talked to you about some other, I can't remember what he said you should grow. What was it? I can't remember what it was. Anyway,
I don't remember.
He was excited about all the veggies out there.
Yes. Well, I did make a mistake this year that I won't be making in future years. We have talked about this before, but we did put in potatoes in our raised garden beds. And of course, You absolutely never want to eat any of the leaves off of the potato. And you don't want to eat the skin after it greens up on the potato because it does, it is toxic to humans. So, and we just planted those potatoes all over the place. So it is going to be a little bit, you've got to know which leaves you really are picking between the lettuce and the Swiss chard and so forth. So I made a mistake this year, and we won't be doing that again. Live and learn, live and learn.
Yeah, the leaves on the potatoes, when you're pointing them out, they're big.
They are.
I guess I don't know. I just never really thought about how potatoes grow, but it's amazing.
Usually what you want to be able to do, we're not doing it because of I just described, we just planted it right in the bed. But generally, as the leaves grow up, you want to bring the dirt further and further up the main stalk, and then you'll be able to get more tubers.
Oh, okay.
But since we are kind of experimenting and having fun,
live and learn.
We just doing it this way right now.
It looks cool. And so
I go out there and I can be very judicious about what I pick. So I'm not letting you out there.
No, absolutely. Do not let me.
No.
I just go and point anyway. What's that? What's that? I like looking at it. It's all cool.
Well, you could definitely tell the onion.
Yes.
You can tell the onions.
Yes, I can tell
and
the onion.
Garlic. You know what has surprised me? Our little cloves from the grocery store have taken off and they are growing.
That is pretty cool.
Yep, that is so fun.
I know. It's kind of fun. Kind of fun watching all that. I think that's I know that's what you enjoy about gardening. You like to kind of see your creation come to life.
Oh, absolutely.
Very cool.
Yes, I love it. And it's intricate. It's just so many different little rabbit holes you could go down.
Yes, I know.
That's what I love too. Well, last week, Jeff, I was so surprised when we finished doing our podcast. You told me we had hit number 50.
50 episodes. Is that crazy?
That is crazy.
That is pretty good. If you considering where we started, we're 50 in. I think that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I'm pretty proud of us for getting there.
I'm gobsmacked, to be honest with you. When we first began, if I thought about saying that we had accomplished 50 distinct episodes, no, I could not get my mind around that.
No, and I think just like a quick note, if anybody out there is thinking about doing podcast, the one thing that you have to do, you just have to keep doing it. I know a lot of if you look at the statistics, there's a lot of people that start them, and which is a crazy statistic I looked at. I mean, people actually quit like with less than 5. They'll do 3 or 4 and then say that's it. And if you enjoy doing it, then do it because you enjoy doing it.
Right.
Don't try to go into it for other reasons, but do it because you enjoy doing it.
It's a great experience.
It is.
For people that are, past the half-century mark, should I say? I mean, it really is. It's a way to keep learning. It's a way to dive into technology that I'm thankful I have someone, Jeffrey, who is very well versed in technology. But if you don't have someone like that immediately in your circle, you could always reach out to others, and it's a wonderful way to keep learning.
It is. It's fun. It's something you can do and share your knowledge, your stories, or whatever it is you want to share. It's a cool thing to do. So if you're thinking about doing it, I would say give it a shot.
Give it a shot.
And don't give up too soon. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. And see where it leads to.
Yes. And my goal for our podcast is to keep improving as we go along.
Absolutely.
So I think there's definitely room for that.
No, we're getting there. All right. So.
Oh, I have a question for you, actually.
So you have a question. I was just going to say, so Mary, I think, has a question for me.
I do. I have a question for you, Jeff.
Question me.
Are all insects bugs?
Oh, now it's your turn to quiz me. Are all insects bugs? I'm going to say yes.
Well, no.
Oh,
No.
Okay.
All bugs are insects.
Okay.
But not all insects are true bugs.
Okay.
I was, looking through my research today, and this caught my attention. Like, huh? And I never thought about it before.
Okay.
But a true bug actually has a proboscis that extends like a straw. This is like their main difference between an insect and a true bug.
Mm-hmm.
And it's able to suck juices from the plants. And so these can include the squash bug, aphids, aphids, cicadas. I was surprised to learn that a cicada is a true bug.
Yeah.
Leaf hoppers. Ooh, your old stink bugs. And also water bugs.
Okay.
And the most awfulest one of all is a bed bug.
Oh.
Ooh.
So which insects are not bugs?
Well, insects share some common features with true bugs, like 6 legs.
Mm-hmm.
So a fly.
Oh, okay.
What other would you say? Butterflies and moths.
Well, that makes sense.
And,
okay.
The thing about a true bug as compared to a butterfly or a moth, so a butterfly has an egg, and then it has a larva, and then it has a pupa, and then it becomes an adult. So it'll go through like 4 stages, whereas a true bug does not have a complete metamorphosis. It will have an egg, and then it will go to a nymph, and then it will become an adult.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
So
interesting.
Those are some distinctions.
Yeah.
Insects generally have wings. A lot of insects have wings. But if you think about, say, your walking stick, that's an insect. I'm trying to think in my brain, but I don't think a walking stick has wings. I'm not sure. But the main significance is it doesn't have the proboscis that can suck the mouth parts.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, so that's a little trivial fact for you.
Well, look at you quizzing me. Turn the tables on me. Darn it.
I did.
And I failed.
No, you did not.
Well, we do them just to bring out some good facts for everyone, including us,
because I learned.
It's a good thing to do.
I learned it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. All right, Mary. So, with all that said, what is the topic this week?
Well, I was talking with my daughter about trying to find a subject for this week's podcast, and she had a great idea. She was saying, how did the bluebonnet get to be our state flower? What's up with that? And I thought, yeah, you know what? The bluebonnets are in full season right now. They're blooming along all our highways. This is the springtime, beautiful display of our wildflowers here. And I thought, yeah, how appropriate.
That is a good subject.
Wildflower issue. This is our annual wildflower issue.
I like it. And if you're in Texas, this is wildflower season and this is bluebonnet season.
And
it's a short one too.
Bluebonnets hold the heart.
They do.
Every Texan, I have to say.
The flower of Texas.
It really is. It is. Well, a bluebonnet is a lupin, and also it's part of the pea family. The same as other nitrogen-fixing plants that are kind of like your early succession plants that help other plants along the way. And natively in our area, this is the species that grows. If you get up into Colorado and the northern states, they have the tall lupins that are dramatically different from ours. But I'm pretty happy with ours field.
Ours is the Texas version of the lupin.
Texas version.
Very nice.
Well, Interestingly enough, it became the state flower in March the 7th, 1901. And it did have some other rivals. One of the rivals was the cotton boll.
Okay.
People were vying for that one, as well as the prickly pear cactus flower, which is quite beautiful. Yes.
But you know what, though? You would not be, you generally, at least now, wouldn't be able to drive around and just see those.
Mm-hmm.
So they did good. I liked their choice.
They did pretty good. Yeah. Really, the reason that we have bluebonnets so widely spread across the state is because our Department of Transportation regularly goes out and sows seeds for them and keeps our highways and byways filled with this lovely flower.
I did not know that.
And you can find bluebonnets across the entire state of Texas. Mm-hmm. But this is interesting. So in 1901, what happened is they declared one of the species, Lupinus subcarnosus. Mm-hmm. And that is the specific variety that was supposed to be the state flower, which caused 70 years of controversy.
Oh, boy.
So in 1971, it was almost to the same day, they decided that they were going to include all 6 species of bluebonnets that can be found in Texas and any further species that shall be so named.
Now, there you go. That's the way to do it. It's because we all know it as the bluebonnet, unless you're probably a naturalist.
Yes.
It's a bluebonnet.
If you see the pictures together, you can notice some difference between the varieties. Out in Big Bend, they have a taller bluebonnet spike, quite striking, actually. And I think the ones that we see a lot are the Lupinus texensis, and that covers our fields and really, really, really covers them. It's just amazing. So it's interesting that the bluebonnet got its name because it closely resembles the sunbonnets that the pioneer women wore.
It does,
they came
that's
through.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. It usually blooms during March and April, and it's a very welcome sign of spring. I would encourage everyone to go out right now. I mean, people are finding pockets of blueberries to take photographs in. This is a very common occurrence in the springtime here in Central Texas.
It is.
For sure. The bluebonnet is also quite unique because you don't really find a true blue flower in nature. You can find them more on the purple side and, quite a bit to the red, like a red violet type, but a real blue is kind of hard. And that makes it somewhere special.
Yeah, it's there is some kind of a chemical thing or.
Yes.
Yeah, I have read that before. Interesting. Because you think you always see a lot of blue, but it's actually not. It's like purple or some variations.
Yes.
Interesting.
If you're looking in a field of bluebonnets and there is a little white flower at the tip, so if you see that it has turned red, I believe that means that a bee has visited the flower and taken the nectar.
Oh, wow.
And it might be a signal to other insects. And so I did learn about one native tradition, and that it was called a gift from the Great Spirit. Okay. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That it was very special, even all the way back to that time.
It's cool. The thing like the bluebonnets here in Texas, or like people that live in the Northeast when they do the leaf peeping. Right.
Yes.
When the leaves turn. That's such a huge thing. The same thing, and especially here in Central Texas, I think the bluebonnets are especially abundant here in this area. People travel here
They
to
come
see
from
the bluebonnet.
over.
There's if you go online, you can find people track it. There's
Mhm.
trackers. There's people tell you what routes you can go and there's
Wow.
to go around. So it's a big deal in Texas because it's a very short period of
Mhm.
time when they actually are, very abundant like that. So
That's
it's
true.
kind of cool. Yeah.
It is so cool.
It's our leaf peeping.
I love it.
Yeah, I just came up with that.
I love our
Yeah.
spectacular leaf peeping. So if you are interested in growing a bluebonnet, you want it doesn't grow on really, it doesn't like a very rich soil or anything like that. It does grow pretty well on our rocky limestone outcroppings. It like I said, it's an early succession plant. And so the bluebonnet, if it has the rhizome, the rhizobloom bacteria. Anyways, there's a very special bacteria that interacts with the roots of some of the nitrogen-fixing plants that help them to gather nitrogen into the soil. And that's one of the special things that a bluebonnet can do for landscapes. And also, I just think that they are super duper plants.
They are cool, and it is
very
the sign
cool.
of spring here in Texas.
It is?
And I didn't know the Department of
Yes.
Transportation puts those out there.
Since
but they
the
are
1930s.
That's interesting, but they are on all the when you're literally anywhere you're driving at this point, you can
Yes.
see bluebonnets around, or like I said, you can look them up and you can go find abundance of them in fields.
And take your portraits.
Take your portrait, get your cameras out there, take your pencils and pens. So, yeah, it's cool. A lot of people are out there. There's some roads we've seen buses full of people on one of our routes
absolutely.
that pull over.
Yes. They go to the wild seed farm out in Fredericksburg.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. So it's a cool, bluebonnets are very cool, very Texas-y thing.
So I did run into an article. This article is on the Arbor Gate. And it's about the Aggie bluebonnet.
Mm-hmm.
And, bluebonnets can come in whites or pinks. Some, I can't think of what they call, but if they're a sport, I think they call them a sport. Anyways, there was Greg Grant, I believe, Jerry Parsons, and Dr. Welsh and Mike Shoup. They were all working together, and they did create a maroon bluebonnet.
Oh, boy. We're Longhorn fans here.
I know. But the article is pretty complicated, but very interesting. I encourage you to read about it. I found it online, the Arbor Gate.
That's very
It's called the Aggie bluebonnet.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good on them. That's neat.
So, kind of hard to get, Texas A&M's pretty Texas.
Yes, they are. They are. I think it's really cool they could do that. I'd love to see one. I have to look it up.
Yeah, I'll show you the picture.
Yeah, very cool.
But that is what I have for a short discussion of the history of the bluebonnet.
I like it. It's very timely.
Very timely.
Here for us today.
Very timely. Now, speaking of timely, my second subject of the day is called the squash vine borer trap.
Traps.
Who knew?
I didn't until you showed them to me. And I still am not quite sure what they are, but
when they arrived in the mail, they came in a huge box, not from the company. They came from Amazon. I ordered them off of Amazon. But I picked up the box and I was going, oh my goodness, what's in here? Feather? Is there a feather? But it was just my little squash vine borer moth traps.
Nice.
I thought I'd give these a try this year. The squash vine borer is not a true bug, not to be confused with the squash bug, which is a true bug.
Okay.
The squash vine borer is a moth And what it does is it will lay a tiny pinprick of a dark color egg towards the base of your squash plants.
Mm-hmm.
And when the egg hatches, it immediately sends its larvae straight into the stem of your squash, and it eats the squash stem from the inside out. So, of course, the squash has no way of transporting any nutrition, and the plant will be flowy, healthy, robust, and the next day you'll come out and it's flat as a pancake.
Oh, my
dead.
God, that's crazy.
It is crazy. Well, you can do a lot of different mechanisms for trying to protect your squash. You could cover it with row cover. Well, the squash vine borer moth comes out maybe June or July, and that's probably around the same time as your squash begins to flower. And you need to have pollination occur to get any squash. So the two choices are to uncover your squash to the open air and let pollinators come through, which means the squash vine borer lays its eggs.
Yeah.
Or you can hand pollinate, The squash plant has a female flower, which has a little squash growing at the back of the flower, and a male flower, which doesn't. So you would just need to transfer the pollen. So you could do that by hand. Or there are other mechanical means. You have to come along and inspect cucumbers, melons, squash, pumpkins, anything in the cucurbit family every single day. And you need to look for those tiny little eggs along the stem and then scrape them off or crush them. And at the same time you're doing that, you should turn the leaf over. And if you see a cluster of tan to yellow colored eggs, you need to squish those off because they are the squash bug, which will take the energy out of the leaves. Yeah. We're fighting some pretty good foes here.
Okay.
Anyway, so you have those options. And then this year, I'm going to try this trap. So what you do is you hang it up, and this has 2 traps inside of it, and it has a pheromone inside that attracts the moth to the sticky trap. And then, of course, they don't get on your plant. They each last, the ones I bought each last for 8 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And so you want to hang them like about 2 to 3 feet off of the ground because the moths flutter through the canopy of your squash. But you don't want them really close to the squash. You're trying to get them away. And what you want to do is like maybe get 3 to 4 feet outside of your garden. And we have a vitex tree that's about that far away. And so I think I'm going to hang this up in the vitex tree. And now I thought it attracted both the male and female moth, but I read online that it only attracts the male. So I don't know about that. I'm going to just, people have had pretty good success using these. And I'm going to give this a try this year. And also, let's say you do go out in your garden and you see that you have trapped some. That is a big signal for you to go around and inspect all your vines. Because there are people that'll take a little blade and cut into if you see this bumpy, yellowish stuff piled on the ground, that's where your squash vine borer is eating. So if you slit the stem, you might be able to catch the borer and remove it.
Okay.
And then you want to pack the stem with something where other things can't get back in there. And that's another trick that people have used to save their squash. I mean, this is pretty complicated stuff.
It's like a war going on out there in the garden.
Every day, every day. But Yeah. I've heard of people having very good success with this, and I'm going to give it a try.
Give it a shot.
If you've never heard of these traps before, look them up. Let's all do this experiment together.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see it. So when it captures them, you can actually see it and that you've captured them, right?
Yeah. So actually, the squash vine borer, even though it's a moth, to me, it looks like some kind of big old ant. And it's got black wings and sort of a bright or deep orange body, or maybe red orange body, and then it has some black markings along its abdomen. So if you see those caught in your traps,
interesting.
Very
all right,
good.
That's going to be fun. I kind of like that little experiment.
Cool.
We're going to do it.
We are going to.
I like it.
Give it
that's
a try.
awesome. Yeah.
Before we hit the very last little tidbit I have for the day, I was wondering, do you have Jeff's Corner?
Well, welcome to Jeff's Corner, Mary.
I'm so pleased to be here.
I actually do have some, and I'm not quizzing you today, just so you know. So you can relax. You don't have to worry about getting quizzed. There's no quizzes. I wanted to talk about a site on the out there on the internet, on the interweb. Cornell University. They have a lot of interesting information out there, and they have a lot of information for the public. There's things out there on different animals. There's one on dogs and stuff, but they have a site just about birds. It's called All About Birds, and the site is, you can go to the Cornell or you can go right to the site. It's allaboutbirds.org, and it gives you information, literally everything you ever want to know about any kind of birds. I mean, there's, why do woodpeckers like to hammer on houses? What can I do about it? How do I keep the squirrels from my yard, from my feeder? What do I do if I find a sick, injured, or dead bird? It's just an amazing amount of information. You can look up each bird type. You can query. You can do a search on a particular bird, and you can kind of see all about it, where its habitat, and where do they migrate or not, and things like that. It's a really, really cool site, and I would definitely encourage people to go take a peek at it. If you're into birds, we're into birds here.
We are.
We're birdie people.
We are birdie people.
We are. I mean, it's that they've got bird cams out there. That they have some live bird cams.
Wow.
It's an amazing site, and it's a great reference for anybody that wants to go out there and do it. The other thing they actually have, which I didn't know this, I just found this out. They have courses. So you can take online courses from Cornell on these things. Joy of bird watching, bird song basics. So there were a couple that kind of, believe it or not, kind of piqued my interest. Now, one of them was, I'm really trying to get into this video stuff. There's one of them, how to record bird sounds.
Oh, Jeff, you love that.
It's a 7-hour course. It's online. It's $99. And you're looking through the videos, but it looks pretty cool.
Yes.
I would definitely be interested in that.
Oh, you love, that is up your alley.
And that's one thing I've always wanted to do, kind of be able to record that. I think it's cool to be able to record nature.
Absolutely.
And I think you can do nature with that. They have another one that Mary might be interested in. Nature journaling and field sketching.
Oh, I love that.
So she kind of goes through on how to, just go out there, how to do some field journals and sketch your own and do all that stuff. Looks pretty cool. They're online, so you take them at your own pace, and they're, $99. So they're not, these aren't, hugely expensive courses. They have a lot on birding, understanding bird behavior. They've got be a better birder, duck and waterfowl identification.
Oh my goodness.
Color and pattern. I mean, they have a lot of really cool courses out there. They got some on how to photograph birds in flight, They have one. We like our woodpeckers. They have one, The Wonderful World of Woodpeckers, and we do have a woodpecker that comes every once in a while. But I would encourage you guys to give that a look. It's called if you go to the other site, it's kind of right off there. It'll say courses and course catalogs up there, or learning kind of off of that. But it's a really cool site. It's a cool. The university puts out a lot of information to the public on a lot of different things. So
they do.
But I was interested, and the courses look pretty cool.
I like that.
And I may have to jump into one or two of those.
Yes, we had talked about doing that last year, and it was about plants. But this sounds like you need to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and the sketch one looks pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And I know you like to do your sketching.
I do. There is a book that you got me by Amy Tan, and it's her Backyard Bird Chronicles. And inside of it, she does field sketching and journaling, and it's wonderful. Yes, I agree.
So it's good. There you go. There's a lot of courses out there. So
okay,
you guys get a chance, go give that a look see. But that's what I had for this week in Jeff's Corner.
Jeff's Corner is always so interesting.
It is. It's pretty interesting. I didn't quiz you. I didn't come up with the big quizzes this time.
It's very diverse.
I'm all over the place, let's be honest.
No, I love that. That's what we need.
No, it is good. All right. So what else you got?
Well, my last little thing of the day is I was, playing out there on the internet. I don't even know how I saw this, but I found this product for the garden that sounds so intriguing. Mm-hmm. I would never have thought of it. Other people have probably thought of it because there is a product. But anyways, so when people grow sheep and they're going to shear them, there is components of the fleece that yarn and textile manufacturers don't want to mill. They might be too dirty. Maybe the fibers are more coarse or not long enough or whatever. So producers of sheep have long known that they could use that dirty fleece in their yards and garden, and it was very productive. And what they decided to do was create a product out of the unusable fleece. I mean, they need to maximize the productivity of the sheep. Mm-hmm. And they made wool pellets for the garden, which, I don't know, captured my whole attention right there. Anyways, I found this little discussion from the South Dakota State University Extension on why these wool pellets are good for your garden, and so just think about that. I mean, how much of the fleece is discarded? At least, a quarter to a third that hasn't been used before, but now they could clean it up a bit, but it still retains the natural lanolin, the oils, which is a very important aspect. Anyways, the wool pellets break down and decompose into your garden over time. And I think it takes about 2 years for them to fully break down. But they have a very high nitrogen content to them because wool is actually made of protein. And that's what we're talking about here is protein is, And so it says in this article that there have been studies by Bradshaw and Hagen in 2022 that has proven a 58 to 69% larger tomatoes when these wool pellets are added into this soil. So that's pretty significant.
Yeah, that's a lot.
They can provide 9% nitrogen over time. And that's the other important part of it is that it is over time. So your nitrogen's not going to run off of your soil with rainfall or watering. We don't want to do that. So it also acts like a water retention aspect to the soil, which is really important, for me. I'm really attracted to that. I did try to use sponges one time in the bottom of some of our container, but the problem was they decomposed in like 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
They were gone. And, I looked for them, but there was nothing left of them. They were natural sponges, but the wool pellets won't do that. They have a longer biodegradability, and so they're going to hold on to the moisture and release it slowly to the plant. And so that's what I'm really excited about.
Okay.
I think I read on one of them that you could use a half a cup of the wool pellets to a gallon of soil, or and maybe it was 1 cubic foot of soil, and pot up your potted plants, and it'll hold like 20 to 30% more water.
Wow.
Than if you don't have it in there.
That's
and you can use them in ground too. You don't have to just use them in your potting soil. But it is a way to help you release, not rely so much on peat moss, because it does provide airflow into your containers as well.
That's pretty. That's pretty interesting.
I know.
I would never have thought that.
Wool pellets,
yeah, that's
right?
crazy. Yeah,
like you would go buy wood pellets from somewhere. So, actually, like if you have the natural lanolin, if you have the fleece that has, I wouldn't necessarily put it on a vegetable garden, but if you have it around ornamentals or fruit trees, it can. The lanolin, I think, is what does it, but it deters your slugs and your pill bugs and other arthropods from eating your new little plants.
Okay.
And so that's a new product that I would like to research and try out and see if it really works in the
I'm
garden.
interested in that.
That's a surprise.
I want to see what it looks like.
We do have one company close to us in Kerrville, Texas, that is, they have a request out from other sheep farmers to apply to their program.
Oh, wow.
And they also have a retail source in Kerrville. If you're interested in Texas, that's the only one I could find in Texas.
Okay.
But during an upcoming trip to the Northeast, I found several spots where we could go.
I think we're coming home with wool pellets, people.
We might be coming home with some wool pellets.
That's cool.
So, yes. And that is my little tidbit for the week.
Well, that's going to be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I'm looking forward to that,
I want to see what they look like and kind of all that stuff. So that'll be pretty cool.
And if you wash a wool sweater, it does have a distinctive sheepy fragrance if it has not been stripped of all the oils, So I'm wondering if these pellets are going to have that distinctive fragrance.
Well, I think we're going to find out, because I believe we'll be having some of these.
I think we will.
All right, cool. All right. Well, thanks for that. That's a cool thing to look out for. And if you guys are interested, you should look that up and see if there's any near you.
Yes.
Give it a shot.
Now, Jeffy, are you doing anything in the garden this upcoming week?
Now I'm on the mowing train. I got to do it once a week, so I'll be mowing.
Very nice.
And I'll be assisting you with any of your gardening needs, Mary.
Absolutely. I don't have any big plans. I'm just excited about watching everything grow, and we'll report back next week and see what the outcome is.
Yeah. So hey, we like I said, we hit our 50th last week, so here's to another 50. We started our journey to the next 50, which is kind of cool and fun.
Very exciting.
We appreciate you guys joining us on the journey with us, and we kind of go through our transformations and our hits and misses and experimentations and any other kind of wild things. We didn't have any critters this week, so no critters to report this week, but you never know what's coming up next week.
That's true.
Anyway, we appreciate you guys joining us here at Mary Bird's Backyard Garden. We hope to see you here next week, same time, same place.
Happy gardening.
Happy gardening. Until we see you again. See you next week. Bye.